With so much going on in the world, it's hard to know what to do. Well, in today's video, we're going to cover what has been recently going on in the crypto market, in politics, because we know that now Vice President Kamala Harris, will be speaking at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville, Tennessee, which starts tomorrow. So we know that she's going to be making an appearance, and we know that these are just very, very uncertain times. She's not the official Democrat nominee yet. So there still is a lot in the air, and we're seeing this in the crypto market. Many of you may be asking, why hasn't the bull run kicked off yet? Right? Why is there so much uncertainty? Well, in today's video, we're going to unpack a lot of what is driving this sentiment. And then we're going to end this video with some really beautiful perspective, clear perspective, well thought through, deep analysis of what's going on in the crypto market and where this positions us. What should we be doing with our money? How should we be seeing these times? So without further ado, welcome to my channel. This is Crypto by Jess, and this is my attempt at making crypto as easy to understand as possible. So welcome, and let's get started. We're going to start off by just checking out a few strategic tweets by some really well-educated professionals. So this tweet comes from Ki-Young Ju, who's founder and CEO of CryptoQuant. So he's a researcher, he's a quant, and he basically points out that Ethereum's recent inflows have been to permanent holder addresses, reaching an all-time high of 714,000 Ethereum yesterday, worth $2.4 billion. And these include custodial wallets, exchanges, and miners. So what does this tell us? This tells us that the biggest believers, the biggest whales, and the biggest holders of Ethereum are those that have been snatching it up, the ones that have been buying it. And because of their past wallet history activity, as blockchain thankfully can show us, and we can see in these addresses, we know that these are holders. They're going to be holding Ethereum, this Ethereum value. So what does this mean for the crypto market at large? Well, it means that Ethereum's price is very likely to do a couple multiples in growth this bull run. So this is extremely good news. And if you've seen my video from yesterday, you would know that the real milestone this represents for the crypto market is that now other altcoins, such as Solana, most likely, will be entering the queue and potentially be becoming financially tradable assets. Next, we know that Kamala Harris is now reported to be speaking at the Bitcoin conference starting tomorrow in Nashville, Tennessee. This will be huge because not only is her opponent, Donald Trump, going to be speaking at the conference, but she has historically been anti-crypto. And the Democrats in large have also been anti-crypto. And this isn't really about what side you're on, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. This has to do with who is crypto friendly. Now, I understand that the majority of Americans, while statistics show that I think it's like up to 90% of voters own some form of crypto. Don't quote me on this. It's not a stat. It's not a statistic, but I believe it's a big majority of voters in some poll that they did own crypto. And you would think that this would ultimately make them all very bullish or positive on crypto regulation and therefore voting for Trump. But keeping in mind that most people get scammed in crypto, as you may have heard of or yourself been scammed, you would know that the simple fact most Americans own crypto is not necessarily good news in terms of us wanting to win their support or assuming that they therefore support crypto. Most with exposure to crypto, depending on the type of exposure and participation and experience they've had with crypto. Those who have had good experiences would be the ones that support it, I would say. Most that have at least experimented with it would know the positive sides of it, in that it's it's self-custodial, meaning you can own it yourself without going through a bank. But also, because we are talking about Americans, we can also assume, this is just an assumption, that most Americans probably are not self-custodial, and they probably own some crypto through Coinbase or Gemini, which are American regulated exchanges. So this is yet to be determined. It would be really wonderful if there was some study or survey done to understand what percentage of Americans are self-custodial crypto token holders, and how many have gone through regulated exchanges, centralized exchanges. So yet to be determined, but the point is that Kamala is going to be speaking at the conference, and rumor is, this is just a rumor, it's important to know the difference, that she's supposed to now all of a sudden be pro Bitcoin or pro crypto. So we will see. I believe she is going to come out with some sort of statement on how crypto is, like, on how now she's pro crypto, simply because she knows that that's one of the leading factors in supporting Donald Trump. So it's we have and it is a Bitcoin conference, so I doubt she'll go and say anything negative about it. But it's really hard to believe somebody that changes their mind at the very last minute, when all the odds are stacked against them and they have so much pressure to accept something new that they have formerly historically been against. So there is a lot of drama going on in politics, but the point is that without us knowing whether or not she is going to be the candidate chosen, to the Democratic candidate, without us knowing that with certainty, we know that we are in uncertain times. And the market doesn't like uncertainty, as I also discussed in my video yesterday. So let us keep going. But this is a very interesting fact, and I would encourage everybody that sees this to go tune in and see what happens. Some would suggest, as you can see on my screen, that if she's even going to approach the topic of being pro crypto, that she should start by releasing Ross Ulbricht, that was sentenced, I believe, to life in prison for setting up, was it Silk Road? He's been in jail, as you can see here, since 2013. His account on Twitter X, if you want to go support him, is actually being run by his fiance, which I think is so beautiful that she would, be so committed to him still, even though he's in prison, because I think that's just a true sign of love. So it's wonderful she's running this, and if you want to sign the petition to free him, since he only created the platform, he didn't endorse activities going on the platform, right? And you can argue this in great detail, which I won't do in this video, but the point is, long before there was any clarity and regulation on what was legal, what was not, people use the internet to do illegal things, and they use the US dollar to buy drugs and to human traffic. And you don't see the Federal Reserve that prints the US dollar being subpoenaed or being, taken to court and or held responsible for the actions people take with the US dollar that they print. So, anyway, and he was just a kid. So I think it's awful, absolutely awful and sad that they would have imprisoned him. But anyway, this is what is being circulated right now. And I personally would agree that I think that before she comes, or as part of her speech tomorrow, I think she should bring it up. And there should be, like, if she's going to all of a sudden switch the dial and be pro crypto and pro Bitcoin, then several things should happen. She should definitely, with her new power, since we still don't know what's happened to Joe Biden, if he's dead or not, or if she's going to resume, the role as president if he is not discovered, if he's not found very soon. Who knows? The point is, everyone's in suspense. No one still knows. Like, no one's heard from Joe Biden, which is very troubling. So anyway, the point is, she should address the release of Ross Ulbricht, and then if she's going to be pro crypto and pro Bitcoin, considering especially that now that the Ethereum ETFs have been approved, I think it would be wonderful. It would be really great if she could also drop all charges against Coinbase or anyone else that the US government, the SEC, is going after right now. So there's that. We'll see what happens. But shifting gears a little bit on this note of market uncertainty, we know that Mt. Gox creditors, right, received Bitcoin a few hours ago. And the good news here is that it did not really shake the market so much. We have still been hovering around 66,000. It hasn't really impacted the market, which is amazing news. Amazing news. That means, either these people didn't sell the Bitcoin they received as a refund, even though they could have. And they didn't sell mainly because these are OGs. These are people that have been in crypto for a very long time, at least 10 years. And they know Bitcoin is about to pump and go to completely new all-time highs. So why would they sell, right? They're being gifted gold, digital gold, and being told that, and they know because they've been in the market cycle for so long that it's going to pump. So of course they're not going to sell. So it either means that, or it means that those that did sell were met with buy orders by people that wanted to buy their Bitcoin into the market, that it was immediately bought up. So either or, it's a very good sign for the crypto market. But nevertheless, there's uncertainty in the air. And this is really summarized so well by this really great tweet by Elio Trades, who's also a builder in the space. He's been in the space a very long time, really respected, which is why I bring him to you. And this is what he says, he says, right now, crypto markets are uncertain. Without a known opponent, the odds of Trump winning can't be calculated. So he says, right, because if there is no clear opponent, because we don't know if Michelle Obama is going to be the actual Democratic, like the Democrat nominee or who, right? If things are still a little bit in the air. We know that Joe Biden endorses her, but she hasn't been officially accepted and supported and endorsed by the Democratic Party. So we're still in suspense. That said, that's why he says, like, unless there is a clear opponent, like, how do you win? Like, if you're in a boxing ring, how do you win? Even though you're a giant and you're a pro wrestler, you can't win if there's nobody else in the ring with you, right? Like, there has to be somebody there for you to fight so that you can win. Well, right now there is no clear opponent. So, and it really makes you think that it's all kind of on purpose or orchestrated. I don't want to get all conspiratorial, but it just seems like there's definitely something in the air, whatever it is. But the point is, because we know based on yesterday's video, I'd encourage you to go watch, that the Bitcoin and the crypto market does not like uncertainty. When things are uncertain, the market tends to dip, right? There's nothing like, even if it's good or bad, as I heard it earlier in today, like in the day, actually I heard it from Elio Trades. He said, whether Trump wins, like if Trump wins, let's put it this way. If Trump wins, then we know he's pro crypto, he's pro Bitcoin. He's gonna, he's talking about making Bitcoin as part of the reserve, global currency. Um, we know he's pro crypto. He's going to make crypto taxing regulation friendly in the U.S., bring entrepreneurs back to the U.S., Bitcoin mining. He's really going to want to lead the way, positioning the U.S. as a leader in Bitcoin and crypto, which will create a domino effect throughout the world and have everyone else also, want to follow suit, like want to follow and also buy Bitcoin, and it'll cause a really good domino effect. But if, on the other hand, Trump does not win, then, and there is no crypto friendly regulation rolled out, Bitcoin does not become part of the National Reserve, global reserve, like even if Trump does not win and therefore the US does not become crypto friendly, that actually only still feeds the Bitcoin narrative. It feeds Bitcoin because we know that the US is drowning in debt. It's drowning in debt. Like literally mathematically, we'll see it in a minute here. There's no way. Like the US is in a big hole. So, which makes the case for Bitcoin. This is what will eventually drive Bitcoin's price up to the moon, because Bitcoin is only going to go up in value. And because it's only going to go up in value, people losing their value in the US dollar are going to move it into Bitcoin. And now that it has such a key role in this presidential election, and the whole world watches the US, everyone's hearing about Bitcoin. It's like the biggest marketing campaign ever is going on right now. So, a very, very exciting time to be in crypto, be in the world, be alive in general. So that's what he says here, right? So he says that because the markets are uncertain, though, because we don't know where Joe Biden is, we don't know if Kamala Harris is going to be, taking his place as president if he died, or if he's sick or incapacitated. We don't know if she's going to become the actual nominee for the Democratic Party. We don't know if someone else is. So because there is no clear opponent or other candidate, this makes the odds of for Trump winning right now, just uncertain. Like we just don't know. We know that we love him. I mean, we love him as our potential president, and best candidate. But the point is that because the market is uncertain right now, you should be buying the tokens you believe in the most, like there is no tomorrow. Like this is the bottom. This is the very last of the bottom. From here, it is going to go up only. I mean, we may have a little bit more volatility, definitely until the elections, or right before I would say before the elections, because the market does have to be in a good, healthy, vibrant, like good mood for elections. Unless, right, they don't want Trump to win, as we know they don't, in which case the Fed and the SEC, like everyone may be forced or may voluntarily kind of like release they may just mess with us, like mess with the market and try to create fear and gloom in the market, which would destabilize and just really affect the price of Bitcoin and crypto and the stock markets, which would put people in a very bad state of being. which they, of course, they would hope by doing that this would discourage people from voting at all or voting for Trump, right? So there's a lot of games going on behind the scenes, but the point is that because we know that the market is down now and it is programmed to go up. It is programmed to go up. There's so much mass adoption. The ETFs are being approved. The Ethereum ETF was just approved. Solana, we know, despite Ethereum's ETFs being approved and becoming tradable yesterday, Solana still had almost 50% market share. And that's with no big news. We know that the hottest meme coins are on Solana. So, we know that historically, like we're right within trend lines, patterns, historical patterns. And we know that August, September, October, like these are our bullish months. Like it may look a little different than the past, but history does rhyme. And there are only so many Bitcoin ever to be created, and they're being bought up daily. I didn't go through it in this video, but we know that on the daily, like millions and millions of dollars of Bitcoin are being bought up through these ETFs. And it's just a matter of time before Bitcoin eventually is so rare, it becomes extremely expensive. So anyway, that said, this is the bottom. And if there is and has ever been a time to buy, it is definitely now. This is what I was showing you a moment ago, right? 93% of Americans own crypto and they vote. The former president's comments on May 5th changed everything. Once the SEC approved the Ethereum ETFs, they've effectively admitted that Ethereum is not a security. A U.S. district court has ruled that XRP in and of itself is not a security. It's over, right? So the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville this week is a giant coming out moment for our industry. And then this tweet really paints, I'm going to just breeze over it because it's a whole novel. It says, it is widely known that Bitcoin was created out of the 2008 financial crisis with the foresight of Satoshi that the moral hazard and incentive set in place during that time period of the central bank's intervention would cause an alteration of the fabric of financial perception due to continued monetary expansion. In the 15 years since, federal debt has a percentage of GDP, the U.S. economic output, that has risen from 60 to 120% today. That's how much the U.S.'s debt has risen, right? So this is why Bitcoin is the answer. And this is why whether Trump wins or doesn't win, it doesn't matter, right? Because there are two ways to solve this from a first principles. Either we must increase the growth of the economy at a greater pace, greater speed than debt creation, or lower the amount of debt created relative to the growth of the economy. While the economy surprised estimates grew by 2.4% annualized in the first quarter. During that time period, public debt grew by 2.7%, which comes out to 10.8% annualized. To keep pace with decades of debt creation, the U.S. would need nothing short of an AI-fueled utopian miracle. On the other hand, political incentives to be liked and re-elected leave a low probability that the elected leaders will prioritize greatly cutting spending. Right? So then we know that the baby boomers are coming of retiring age. We know that the Social Security programs that they rely on must be supported by the new working class, which is smaller and in a tougher environment for wealth creation, right? So all of these factors combined leave us with a high probability of debt relative to the GDP increasing. So with debt growing relative to the output of our economy, how will we service the debt? The answer is quite convenient when you have a global reserve currency like the US does, which is through monetary debasement. To keep things simple, if the United States issued debt at a 5% annual interest rate, they can simply increase the amount of monetary units, 5% in this case, that they are paying and the interest accordingly. So as we keep going, basically what he goes on to say is that the US could actually find its way out of this debt by considering Donald Trump's supposed, right, rumored strategy of making Bitcoin a strategic reserve asset. But what I found interesting in this article is that it's just a rumor. It wasn't Trump that said it himself, but it was Jason P. Lowry, who is the author of Soft War, a book on crypto and all these things, right? And I guess he deleted all of his tweets regarding it, but he basically said that Trump's team, how does it go, approached him in his office and that is where the speculation was born. So I think it's very, very important to realize that Trump didn't technically say this. It was rumored. It came from somebody who said that Trump approached him, right? But the impact of making Bitcoin a reserve asset could be enormous, right? As we know, and as I zoom in on the screen, we know that the US government currently holds about 213,000 Bitcoin, which is probably from Ross Ulbricht, who they imprisoned from Silk Road. But this is basically all confiscated Bitcoin. That's why the US has so much Bitcoin. So they would have to do some shuffling around, and they would have to like order the Federal Reserve to find some way of linking Bitcoin to it or coming up with some strategy. But the point is that the president would have that authority to do that. And really, this could have an enormous implication on the US debt, on keeping the US in a power position, considering especially there are nations like Brazil and Saudi and India, and I think is it Russia as well, that have formed this BRICS alliance, right, and creating their own global reserve currency. So this would be very, very strategic. And honestly, I am pro-Trump only because especially after this recent assassination attempt, mainly because of his instinctual reaction, right? Like, people only try to take out people that are a threat. So the simple fact that they tried taking Trump out is a sign that he is ruffling the feathers of the deep state or the deep organizations that run the government, because clearly we know that Joe Biden has not been coherent enough to be his own person, to be his own voice, to be a president. We know that he's been like the spokesperson. He's been like the face, the puppet. But there are definitely forces behind him, a team of great writers and politicians that have, I guess, basically gained popularity behind the scenes to be running the government, which is a problem, right? Because if Joe Biden was incapacitated and no longer healthy enough and, clear-minded enough, then the right thing to do would have been to have him step down. That's the right thing to do. They're even like torturing a human being. He's elderly, So that would have been the right thing to do, and that has not happened. So we know that clearly somebody is running the show behind the scenes. I hate to say it, but that's just kind of like 1 + 1 = 2. Okay, that's basically all I'm doing here is summarizing obvious points. So whether or not, that's what I want you to take away from this. I'm going to hop over to my main screen so I can say my official goodbye and close out this video. But I just wanted to read this one last tweet for you because, in line with what I'm telling you right now, with like this rumor, it's a well-founded rumor, okay? It's not like a rumor you should dismiss because somebody made it up. It's somebody respectable that's a published author, that came out and said this, right? So, considering that it's being rumored that Bitcoin is going to be pushed forward as a national asset held as a treasury reserve, the point is, and that's what he says here as well, right? He says whether they succeed or not in the first attempt doesn't matter because Bitcoin now has an extremely visible asymmetric upside scenario. If successful, there are very plausible asymmetric midterm scenarios for a $500,000 Bitcoin or $1 million Bitcoin, right? So the US executing on this would undoubtedly have many other countries following in its lead. So it will cause an international domino effect where all the countries of the world are going to have to catch up or like go home, you know? And that'll be amazing for Bitcoin. Not just like, yes, because of the price, and I hope everyone becomes a multimillionaire, but also because of the underlying technology. You know, it's decentralized nature, blockchain. Like that means that we're literally entering into the next era of humans evolution, which will be amazing. Amazing, right? So, and that's what then he goes on to say, on top of it all, we have rumors of a major Asian conglomerate stepping up to play Coinbase MicroStrategy type roles. So now there's like rumors of like this happening, like MicroStrategy type companies popping up in Asia. This is incredible. That's what he says. These bullish developments have come quicker than expected, right? But not complaining. It's going to be a hell of a month. So this all goes back to what I was telling you earlier, which is now is the time to buy like there is no tomorrow. And by that, I mean Bitcoin, I mean some Ethereum. It is going to do multiples. I definitely mean some Solana. And I think AI tokens and real world assets like Ondo. I'm bullish on based AI for many reasons. I made a whole video on this. And I hear updates from their team regularly, so I know they're building great things. And yeah, and some top meme coins. That's like only like the top ones if you're trying to be safe. Like your Brett, like your Tucker, like your dog with hat. Even though we haven't heard many updates from them lately, but it's coming. I believe these top, like blue chip tokens are going to pump and do the best. Definitely in the beginning of the cycle, most likely through the cycle. But yeah, just be in strong positions you feel confident in, and for the positions you feel confident in, especially Bitcoin. I would definitely buy now. So anyway, guys, I hope you appreciate, and I will please like and subscribe. It means a lot to me as I am still growing, and your like means a lot to me. It'll help me grow some more. So I appreciate you, and I will see you guys here tomorrow.